Hey, how y'all doing out there? I'm back again with another video. Today I'd like to do a quick comparison between the OnePlus 8 Pro and the LG Wing. Now both of these devices were released last year, 2020. Both are flagship devices and both are unlocked for all carriers. Now first thing I want to get to is the design. So they both have their own unique design. Which one I like better? Well, let me take the case off the Wing so you can really see it. And you could pretty much see the design of the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, when it comes to design, I actually like the design of both of these very, very much. But I would have to go, if I had to choose, I'd have to go with the LG Wing because it reminds me of the Note, the way the Note looks. And it just has a type of elegance and sleekness to it that I really like. But I really like the design of both phones. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd have to go with the Wing. Alrighty. Next, let's talk about build quality. Now, with the 8 Pro, you got Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back with a frosted back. And with the LG Wing, you get Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back also. Only difference is you're getting military standard drop compliance on the LG Wing. So when it comes to overall durability, the LG Wing is going to be better when it comes to drop protection. But both have Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. So when it comes to build quality, got to give the edge to the LG Wing. Next, let's talk about button placement. Now, with the OnePlus, you got the power button right here on the right side. Very easily to get to, not too high. You have your alert slider here that, a lot of people like me. No big deal because my phone stays on vibrate all the time, so it's not a big deal. And then you have your volume rockers on the left. And they're pretty low, so you can get to them easily. They're not way up here. So I don't dislike the button placement, but it's cool. Now, when it comes to the LG Wing, everything is on the right side. The power button and your volume rockers, no alert slide or anything like that. On the left side is clean. So when it comes to button placement, I prefer the button placement of the LG Wing only because everything is on the right and I'm a right-handed person. So that's what I prefer. But everybody don't feel the same way. Some people like having the volume buttons on the left. But me, I want everything on the right. Next, let's talk about the always-on display. As you can see, both have an always-on display. Now, in my opinion, LG makes the best, the second best always-on display in the business after Samsung. And then I would probably say I would have to go with Xiaomi, and then I would go with OnePlus. But LG's is better when it comes to these two, and it's more functional. You could do more with it. You can open up other apps. You have quick links to other apps and stuff. The OnePlus 8 Pro is not really all that functional. It's just not. And you're going to get way more always-on display, different ones you could use on this as opposed to the OnePlus. It doesn't have as many always-on displays to choose from. Now, I'm not getting really deep because I don't want the video to be too long. So I'm trying to keep it moving for you guys. All right, let's talk about in-display optical fingerprint sensors. Both have in-display optical fingerprint sensors, but in my experience, the LG Wing optical fingerprint sensor is better. Both have haptic feedback. Both have animations. But I find that the LG is more accurate. I'm having a lot of issues with the fingerprint sensor on the 8 Pro. It could be just my unit, so I'm not going to say that all 8 Pros are bad because I don't know that. I don't have, I don't have another one to compare it to, but I know the one that I have on this phone does not work well. It's very inaccurate, and there's other apps that I, could use the fingerprint for, but every time I try to use it, it would not open up the app. So it's not good on this phone at all. So if I had to choose, I'm going with the LG Wing when it comes to the in-display optical fingerprint sensor. Next, let's talk about face unlock. Now, with OnePlus, you do have the face unlock. It comes right at up here. Let me let you see. I just used the face unlock, but it's that little camera right there. And as you can see, it's very fast and very accurate. Every time it sees my face, it opens up the phone immediately. Okay? My wallpaper changed again. Hold on 1 second. I hate when this does this. It's all right. I want to see them beautiful wallpapers. All right. Now we good. All right. So face unlock. LG Wing, unfortunately, they didn't put any face unlock on here at all. I don't know why. That's just what they did. Next, let's talk about the display. Now, this is extremely important to me. I can't speak for everybody else, but this is probably one of the most important things about a smartphone for me is the display. The display has to be beautiful. It has to reach a certain level for me to want the phone. So with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you're getting a 6.78 inch Quad HD Plus fluid AMOLED display with HDR10 Plus and 120 hertz refresh rate. And also, to make it even better, you get that motion graphic smoothing. Now, what that means is it makes the video or the movie you're watching super smooth, and it's so good till it feels like you're not watching a movie. It really looks like you're actually there, or like they're popping out of the screen. That's how brilliant that motion graphic smoothing is. I mean, it's my favorite phone to view content on, honestly. That, and I would say the Note 10 Plus, only because of that big boxy wide display. You know, it looks like you're looking at, you know, like you have a little TV in your hand. But just based on quality alone, it got to be the OnePlus 8 Pro when it comes to that. Now, and with the LG, you're getting a 1080p POLED rotating display with HDR10 Plus. No high refresh rate. And also you have a secondary display that's a 3.9 inch 1080p GOLED display. And let me show you that really quick. And this is what makes the LG so unique. Here it is right here, down here. This is why it's called the Wing. This is what separates this phone from any other phone that I have. There's nothing else like this. Like, this is just awesome. So this is that 3.9 inch GOLED display. And of course you got your main display up here. All right. Now, when it comes to the both of the displays, which one has the best display? Now, for me, it's going to be definitely the OnePlus because it's a Quad HD Plus display with 120 hertz refresh rate. It just looks better. It's brighter. It's more vivid. It's more sharper. You're only dealing with 1080p on the LG Wing. Now, I'm not saying the LG Wing has a bad display because it definitely does not have a bad display. But it does not look as good as the OnePlus 8 Pro. It just doesn't. Quad HD, 1080p. I can tell the difference between 1080p and Quad HD. Some people probably can't, but I can. Definitely. So the win for me is the 8 Pro when it comes to overall display quality. But the LG Wing does have a nice display in its own right, even though it's only 1080p. Excuse me, y'all, fighting the cold. All right, next, let's talk about IP68 water and dust resistance. The 8 Pro does come with IP68 water and dust resistance, while the LG Wing only comes with IP54 splash-proof protection. Now, I'm glad that it has any water resistance at all because of the fact that it's a rotating display, so I'm happy that it has some type of protection. But this one has the ultimate protection. You can submerge this in 5 feet of water for 30 minutes and you'll be fine. But both have some type of water resistance, but the best is going to be the OnePlus 8 Pro. Next, let's talk about chipset. So with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you got Snapdragon 865. With the LG Wing, you have the Snapdragon 765. Now this one has a gaming chip. Now it's best known for its power efficiency. And it works really well. It's not as fast as the 8 Pro, but it works very well. It's nice and fast, nice and smooth. Next, let's talk about performance. Now, both of these phones perform very well. However, the OnePlus 8 Pro is just a faster phone. Okay, much faster than that of the LG Wing. But if you're a person that your phone doesn't have to be the fastest out there, then the LG Wing is going to be fine for you. This is not a slow phone by any means, and its transition in and out of apps is very, very smooth, and you'll love it. Both will give you a great performance and great smoothness and great experience, but the OnePlus 8 Pro does outperform the LG Wing when it comes to overall performance. Next, let's talk about RAM. Now, the 8 Pro comes with 12 gigs of RAM, and the LG Wing comes with 8 gigs of RAM. Now, for most people, 8 gigs of RAM is going to be more than enough, but I'll take the 12 gigs because it's going to make the phone run even better, and it's going to hold more apps open in the background. Next, let's talk about internal storage. Both of these devices come with 256 gigs of internal storage, and also both of these phones do offer a 128 gig variant as well. But both of these actually have 256 gigs inside them. Next, let's talk about expandable storage. With the OnePlus 8 Pro, you get no expandable memory at all. With the LG Wing, you're definitely getting expandable memory, and you're getting it up to 2 terabytes. So if you're the person like me that's a storage monster, you need tons and tons of storage, you want the LG Wing, because you cannot expand the storage on the OnePlus 8 Pro. So with 256 coming with the phone, and then throwing an SD card in there and expanding it even more, if you need that extra storage, you want the LG Wing. Next, let's talk about the stereo speakers. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you're getting dual stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos, and with the LG Wing, you're only getting one downfiring speaker that's decently loud, and the sound quality is pretty good, but it doesn't compare to that of the dual stereo speakers on the OnePlus 8 Pro. Definitely outperforms the LG Wing's one downfiring speaker. Next, let's talk about audio. Now, I'm talking about neither one has a headphone jack. So you're talking about how the audio sounds through the USB Type-C port. And for me, the OnePlus 8 Pro sounds better than the LG Wing. Now, I know this has 3D surround sound and all that, and you got an equalizer, and that's cool. But it still doesn't sound good as the 8 Pro, in my opinion, based on my experience. Now, somebody might disagree, but we all hear things differently. But for me, the 8 Pro sounds better. Next, let's talk about the battery. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you got a 4,510 milliamp battery, and with the LG Wing, you got a 4,000 milliamp battery. Which one gives you the best battery life? That's going to be the 8 Pro. Now, when it comes to standby time, both are excellent at standby time, but just battery, I mean, the only reason why I'm saying this is better, it does have a bigger battery, but at the same time, I'm using almost 100% brightness. I'm using the motion graphics smoothing. I'm using Quad HD. I'm using 120 hertz refresh rate, and I'm getting a day and a half. That's incredible. This only has a 1080p display, so it's not using as much battery. Doesn't have the motion graphics smoothing. I'm using it at like 97-98% brightness, and it could last me like a day and a half too. But it should last even longer because it doesn't have a high refresh rate either. So I'm using this with everything at max, and I'm getting the same amount. So I can get a day and a half with both devices. So both have great battery life. But this one actually should get you a little bit more due to the fact that it only has a 1080p display. But both give you really great battery life. Next, let's talk about battery charging speeds. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you're getting 30-watt warp charging, which is really fast. However, with the LG Wing, you're only getting 25-watt fast charging, which is really, really slow. I mean, it takes almost 2 hours to fully charge this device. So it's quick charge, so technology is very old, unfortunately. Now, let's talk about wireless charging. So both offer wireless charging, but the OnePlus 8 Pro offers 30-watt fast charging, and the LG Wing only offers 13-watt wireless charging. With this, it takes you over 3.5 hours to fully charge this from 0 to 100. With the 8 Pro, you can charge this phone completely from 0 to 100% in an hour and 10 minutes with wireless charging. So when it comes to wireless charging and wired charging, the 8 Pro is superior. All right, let's talk about reverse wireless charging, otherwise known as power share. So you're getting 3-watt reverse wireless charging on the 8 Pro. You're getting no reverse wireless charging on the LG Wing. Now I know most people don't even care about that because most people are not going to probably use it, but it has to be mentioned because this is something that the 8 Pro has and the LG Wing does not have. Next, both have NFC, both have Bluetooth 5.1, both have edge lighting, even though they implement them a little differently. But they both have edge lighting. When you get a notification, the borders around the display is going to light up only when it's off. Same with this one. When it's off, it flashes on the side, and this one actually goes around in like a ring. So they both implement it different, but they only do that when the screen is off. With my Samsung, it does it with the screen on or off. But with these two, you do have it, but they just one flashes and one kind of circles around the display. Next, I already discussed that neither one has a headphone jack, which is unfortunate. Let's talk about customization. Both are highly customizable, but I actually think that the OnePlus 8 Pro is a little more customizable because of the Oxygen OS. Now, if you want to go even more customizable, all you got to do is download Nova Launcher Prime to the LG Wing, and you can make it even more customizable. But both are definitely customizable. But I believe just based on without Nova Launcher, I believe that the OnePlus through Oxygen OS is a little more customizable than that of the LG Wing. Next, let's talk about Android skin. So you got Oxygen OS, and with the LG, they have their own skin. Which one do I like better? It's going to be the OnePlus 8 Pro, the Oxygen OS, I like better than that of the LG skin. Both are good. I don't have an issue with either one, but I just like the Oxygen OS better. It's faster, it's a little smoother, and it's more customizable. All right, next, let's talk about the cameras. Now, with the OnePlus 8 Pro, you got 4 cameras on the rear. You got a 48 megapixel wide with laser autofocus and optical image stabilization, 8 megapixel telephoto lens with optical image stabilization, 3 times optical zoom, and then you got a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 5 megapixel color filter. Now, the color filter to me is useless because the photos look like crap. So I think they just added that just to add it. Now, the rear cameras do shoot at 4K at 30 and 60 frames per second and 1080p at 30, 60, and 240 frames per second with electronic image stabilization. And with the selfie camera, you got a 16 megapixel wide that shoot at 1080p at 30 frames per second. No 4K on the front camera on the OnePlus 8 Pro, and no 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is a disappointment for a flagship device. It should have 4K capability, and it definitely should be able to shoot at 1080p at 60 frames per second. All right, let's talk about the LG Wings camera. So you got 3 cameras on the rear. You got a 64 megapixel wide with optical image stabilization, excuse me, 13 megapixel ultra wide, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide, so no telephoto lens. And the rear camera shoot at 4K at 30 and 60 frames per second, and 1080p at 30 and 60 frames per second, and also 8K at 24 frames per second. You get no 8K on the OnePlus 8 Pro if you care about that. I don't care about 8K. For me, honestly, 1080p at 30 or 60 is more than enough. 4K is really going to destroy your battery life. I mean, 1080p at 60 is hard on your battery, as is, but 4K is going to destroy your battery. So if you're going to shoot a lot of 4K video, you better have your charger handy. And that goes pretty much for any Android phone, because when you're shooting at that high res, you're going to use up more battery because your phone heats up. All right, keep that in mind. Now with the selfie, you got a 32 megapixel pop-up selfie on that of the LG Wing, and it shoots at 1080p at 30 frames per second. No 4K recording and no 1080p at 60 frames per second. So they pretty much the same when it comes to the selfie camera. They didn't give much love to the selfie camera. Now, the only thing that sets this apart too, also, you already got this rotating display, and this is what sets this apart. But when you go into the camera down here, you have this gimbal mode. See right here? So you can actually move the the lens up, down, like that is so cool. You got time lapse down here. You got slow mo, and you also have dual recording. Okay, also dual recording. So this what sets this thing apart when it comes to the camera. I love it. Now also you got manual mode on here. You don't have a pro mode, I don't believe, on the 8 Pro. So I'm telling you right now, manual mode on here. When I'm shooting videos, I've been shooting most of my videos with this phone now, and this device shoots the best videos out of all the phones that I have right now. Seriously, even my Note 10 Plus. That's what I'm using now. This shoots the best video. With that manual mode, it's just so beautiful. But I'll say again, both of these are great devices. Both are flagships. And also keep in mind, I forgot to mention that the LG Wing is considerably more heavier than that of the OnePlus 8 Pro. So if you don't like a heavy phone, then you don't want the LG Wing. If you don't mind and you want to enjoy the weight, you want more of a phone that has some weight, more like a manly type thing, then I would say go with the LG Wing, because when you hold it without a case, it feels super premium, nice heavyweight to it. But if you don't want arm fatigue and all that, you want to go with the 8 Pro. It's definitely lighter, and you do have that frosted back. You got a glossy back on the LG Wing, and it's a fingerprint magnet without a case. But if you're going to use a case on it, doesn't even matter. So that was my quick comparison of the 8 Pro, OnePlus 8 Pro, and the LG Wing. I love both of these phones. This phone is so unique because of that rotating display and all the things you can do with that. And I'll be making a video soon about what makes the LG Wing so unique. I'll be doing that this week. But I love both of these. But if I had to choose between the two, if I had to make a choice, I would have to go with the OnePlus 8 Pro. And I'm going to tell you this, and I forgot to mention this. With photos, in my opinion, the OnePlus 8 Pro takes better overall photos than that of the LG Wing. When it comes to video, I'll go with the LG Wing. But photos, I'm going with the 8 Pro. So the reason why I would pick the 8 Pro, you're getting better performance, you're getting better battery life, you're getting a better display, you're getting more features and more customization. You're getting better speakers. You're not getting a fingerprint magnet. So things like that is the reason why. Better cameras. You're getting a face unlock, and no face unlock on this. So I mean, for me, and you're getting better charging speeds on the battery. As far as wireless charging and wired charging. And also, keep in mind, you get reverse wireless charging. So that's the reason why I would pick the OnePlus 8 Pro over the LG Wing. But it's just barely, because I like the uniqueness of this device with that rotating display. I like the fact that this has expandable memory, which is very, very important to me. So things like that is the reason why, I like this device too. But, one downfiring speaker really ruined this for me with the media experience. This has dual stereo speakers, which sounds so much better, and you got a better display with that motion graphic smoothing. It just looks awesome. It really does. So all right, so thank you for taking the time to view this content. I do appreciate it. I hope everybody out there is staying safe and doing well, and I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace.